goals, attitude, and persistence. And coming into this last month of the year, one of the things we need to focus on is the persistence part. You know, this is not the time to let up. On our affirmation right here, we said, you know, what I do today makes my tomorrow. So what we do in December is going to dictate what happens in January and the other February. If we're not busy now, we're not going to have any business in January and February. So we have to plant the seeds now to reap the rewards later. I looked at MLS. There's been 87 new listings this month. So the business is out there. 65 residential, 13 land, and 9 commercial. So think about it. 87 new listings in November. The business is out there. How many listings did you get this month? There's no saying in real estate, you got to list if you're going to last. There's another saying I just saw, said your inventory level will determine your income level. So that's something to think about. It's all about the listings. So starting in December and carrying on into 2012, we're going to be focusing on listings and getting listings. Because listings is what it's all about. The other thing we're going to talk about today real quick for just a little bit is goals. You've heard me talk about the importance of goals. You know, if you don't know where you're going, you end up nowhere. The 3% that have the written goals exceed the other 97% that don't have the written goals. Well, I've made a very simple goal slash business plan for 2012. And so I'm going to hand this out. There's a lot of plans available out there. They can be pretty complicated. Century 21 offers one that's about 5 or 6 pages long. This is a single page goal plan. We're going to run through this real quick. I've got it up here. Basically, the first thing in thinking about what you want to do in your goal is figuring out exactly why that's what you want. What's your motivation? You know, why do you want to sell real estate in this next year? What's good? Exactly. That's a good reason. But also think about is what the results of your sales work is going to bring for you and or your family. So figure out what's important to you and how this is going to help you with that. In the sales goals, I kept it pretty simple. You can, if you prefer to use a dollar figure that you want to bring home, then we can work that up. It takes a little bit more time because of varying commission rates depending upon the amount of production you do and all that. But today on this, I've kept it pretty simple, and we're just going to use this through the sales volume. So can y'all see that? Maybe turn off one of the lights back there, or the front light. Actually, I've got some. I don't have one for everybody, but I think there's enough that you can have a couple at each table so you can share. So if you can't see that, but looking at your sales goal, if your goal for this year is to do $1 million in production, your gross closed commission would be $30,000. That's the way Century 21 scores at. $30,000 equals $1 million in production. $2 million, $40,000, $3 million, $90,000. If you're looking to do $100,000 in GCC, that's $3.3 million. The next thing is the $100,000 sides. Now, our average MLS sale side is $124,000. But I use this just to keep it real simple. If you sell a $100,000 house, you're going to get a 3% commission. And so it's going to take 10 sides at $3,000, which is 3% of $100,000. It's going to take 10 sides to get the $30,000. If you break that down into monthly, that's $2,500 a month that you need to close in order to reach $30,000 in production and do $1 million. And I have it scooted over there for those other 2, 3, and 3.3 million. The monthly sides, if you divide it 10 into 12, that's 0.8. So really, you don't even have to have a full side per month at $100,000 per side to reach a $30,000, $1 million production goal. Also, it shows the other ones 1.6 for 2 million, 2.5 for 3, and do 100,000 is 2.8. The total in QC, that's new qualified client, and that's on that sheet there. If you follow along on the business plan, a new qualified client. I didn't put the form that I was kind of copying. This just had clients, but the client's not even good if they're not qualified, if they can't buy. So, or if they're not qualified as far as the sales too, if they're not ready to sell. But so you would need that number corresponding, 20, and basically to get that number you double the number of sides that you need. So if you need 10 sides, you need 20 qualified buyers. Every other one should end up being able to buy if they're qualified. Now, if they're not qualified, that number's not going to work. But if they're qualified, they should be able to buy something, at least half of them. So that's where we get the next number at 20, and then if you divide that, that gives you 1.6. Okay. I have my glasses. 1.6 for 1 million, and then so on for the other ones. So that gives you an idea of whatever goal that you're looking at. You can see what you need to do on a monthly basis as far as getting the clients or the amount of actual closed commissions. So that's what you're going to use to fill in those blanks on there. The next thing is to think about is where your business comes from. Business can come from a lot of different places. Of course, there's FISBOs, ad calls, sign calls, open houses, expired, personal marketing, past customers, farming, your sphere of influence. It's a good idea to think about the listings, the closings that you've had and where your business has come from, because there's a good chance that it's going to come from some of the same places. Also, you can increase your business by looking at some of these other sources. Now, there's other ones out there, but I think that in general covers the majority of those that are available. The next thing to think about is the actions that you're going to take to get the business. And really what it boils down to, that dirty word, prospecting. And whether you do it through the open houses, you can do advertising, calling expireds, some personal marketing, calling your SOI, forming, joining the club, just like they were saying earlier, the Chamber of Commerce, handing out business cards, or the pet class, which I'm going to touch on just a little bit also. But you've got to have something, a plan to figure out how you're going to get that business. It's not just going to walk in the door. You may get a little tiny bit of it, but I always say that's the gravy. You can't depend on that to reach your goal. And then the last thing of that is setting aside a time to work on it. If you don't make an appointment with yourself to spend that time to do the things you need to do, you'll end up not doing it. You'll get busy. Somebody will come in, or you'll get a phone call, or whatever will happen. Something will happen if you do not set aside the time to do the things that you need to do. So you need to set aside that time. One other thing I want to talk about on that pet class. The pet class, there's a few people that participated in a pet class about probably 2 years ago. I think Holly, you, Shane, I think you did it. Maybe Wanda, I think. It's called Productivity Enhancement Program. And I'm going to email everybody this flyer. At the time when they first offered it, it was about $400, thereabouts. I forget what it was. It was not cheap. They're offering it now, and it's free. It does not cost you anything. It's part of the service that you get from Century 21. Angela Rose, who Sandy spoke about earlier, and some of you have seen or may have heard before, she's an excellent trainer, is going to do this program. Before we had Kevin, somebody from Canada or something, he was all right, but I think Angela's going to do a much better job. But basically, if you're not sure what you need to do and you don't really have the plan of what you need to do, this is an excellent opportunity. It's all laid out there for you. It's a 10-week class. I think it's on Tuesday. It's a video deal. We can set it up in here. It lasts 45 minutes to an hour. There are assignments each week, things that you need to do, things that you really ought to be doing anyway. But this will just prompt you to go ahead and actually get around to doing it. It's all tracked. You heard me say before, you need to keep up with the amount of prospecting that you do so you can figure out that I need to talk to this many people in order for me to get a lead. And if I talk every lead I get, it takes me X number of leads to get a contract out of that or a listing out of that. That's powerful stuff to know, so that whenever you're out there, feel like you're beating your head against the wall and not getting anywhere, if you know that if it takes 10 or 7 or 5, whatever it is, that every time that it doesn't work out, you're getting that much closer to where you should be getting one on the average numbers. So that's powerful stuff to know. Again, this class is free. I encourage anybody that's halfway interested to sign up for this. It's free. You can't beat that. It's going to make you money. If you will follow this program, those that have done it before, they know that productivity increase. Their sales increase from it because it helps you get in the habit of doing the things that you need to do. So I'm going to be emailing everybody this, and you'll have it in your email if you want to sign up for it. There's a part where either Sandy or I have a meeting a little bit before each of the meetings that y'all have, and so we'll need to know who signed up so me and Sandy can get signed up with it also. So if you have any questions about this, see me, be happy to answer the questions.